Welcome to Illo Talk. I am Cory Kerr, and today I'm going to show you how I made this animation. So this video is brought to you by Wacom, and I did all of this on a Cintiq, and I'm going to show you how I did it using a plugin called Timelord. But really quick, I just want to kind of walk you through really what's going on here. So what we're looking at is, this is kind of just a thing that I do where I just kind of like flip my, there's it right there, flip my pen around. Kind of as I'm thinking or as I'm working, I'll just kind of flip this around. So I thought it might be kind of fun to kind of do that as an animation. And this animation is actually made out of a couple different things. So you can see that here's the full-on thing. It's made out of this red dripping part. Okay, and then it's made out of the bones here, right? And so it's actually two different techniques that I'm using. The first is just basic After Effects stuff where I'm just rotating things. And so you can kind of see here, you know, if I were to come in over here and just rotate this, you can see I can kind of move those around. They're articulated, so I can kind of like move them. They're parented together. That's pretty basic stuff. The other thing I'm doing is actually called rotoscoping. It's this frame by frame traditional animation, is that each one of these is a frame. And so I do actually draw that in Photoshop. So this is the beginning part. How it like fills up like that. Okay, and so then I layer all that stuff together. It becomes this, right? Now the way I got the hand movement is kind of fun. I actually went in and recorded my hand doing that. I recorded it like this. And then I went in and did frame by frame. And I actually went in and traced over kind of keyframes in the video. And then I drew the bones and then I animated the bones. So I didn't rotoscope. I rotoscoped the sketch as you're seeing like right now on the screen, but I didn't rotoscope the bones. The bones are actually just kind of rotated like I was showing you before. Okay, but today I want to show you how I'm using a plugin called Timelord. So let's jump over to Photoshop here. And what Timelord does is it's this little thing down here, and it allows you to draw frame by frame. And so you can kind of see how this all like fits up frame by frame, and you can come in and you can edit. And then I used that to create the skeleton hand, and then I imported the skeleton hand and used the stuff that I drew as a frame of reference for where the bones should go. Then I came in here and I drew each frame of the Cintiq, filling up with paint. And in this one, I traced kind of the path. And so it kind of just flips through and it draws those. So two different techniques. One, very normal stuff that you can see in my AI to AE playlist on just how to make your stuff move in Adobe After Effects. Stuff that you can create in Photoshop and Illustrator. But this is more traditional animation like Disney used to do, and you know, Warner Brothers and Hasbro and stuff like that. Hanna-Barbera and whatnot, where they would draw each frame. And just to give you an idea of actually kind of what we're doing, I wanted to show you how they used to do it back in the 80s and earlier. And so what you see here is this is an actual background that I bought from an old TV show. And these are called cells. So this is a cell from the Little Nemo cartoon. And you can see that they're transparent, and I can move them around. And so what you would do is if you had an animation, I could have like Nemo flying through his bed, and I take a picture, and then I move it and take a picture, and move it and take a picture, okay, or something like that. Or I could add in this guy here, and you'll notice with him, I don't know if I can get this, I'll probably do a cutaway. You'll notice that he doesn't have any feet, and that's because those would be on a different layer, because they probably moved independently. So there's stuff that's moving with it, and there's stuff that's moving that's fixed, and there's the background in different layers. And so we're going to do the same thing where we're going to have different layers of things. Some of those are going to be fixed. Some of those we're going to move with like position and scale and rotation in After Effects, and some we're going to draw frame by frame, like that guy's feet. So what we've got here, we've got our little butterfly. I've got him rigged up with some joysticks and sliders controls, which is a different plugin that we won't be talking about today. But basically, he kind of flaps around. That's kind of what's going on, right? And then what I did is I put him inside of this other composition where he's just going to fly by a couple times. Okay, so kind of enjoy the flappy, erratic nature of butterflies. Anyway, So we are now going to use a plugin called Timelord. So I'm going to jump over to Photoshop here. Okay, and Timelord installs this little bar in Photoshop, and there's all these little buttons. The first thing that I want to do is when I go in here and hit the new from timeline button. Okay, and what that does is it creates a series of layers. And so we're just gonna make some wind here. So I'm just gonna call this wind. Okay, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a layer underneath. And so I'm going to just do like a little sketch layer here. So I have something to kind of go off of. I'm going to drop it underneath like that. No, underneath. There we go. Okay. And let's say that we want this little wind to whip. I don't know. We'll say that it takes 10 frames. And so I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to choose a color that I'm not going to use in my drawing. And, let's say that we want the wind to kind of whip around like that. That's an okay path. Okay, so then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to highlight this layer and I'm going to start drawing. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to start at the beginning here and I'm just going to rotate this and I'm going to draw just this first little part and I want it to taper off and be kind of elegant there like that. Okay, and I'm gonna have it kind of elongate, but it won't last the whole time. Okay, so I'm gonna turn onion skinning on, and I'm gonna push the new layer button here, and let's look at our onion skinning. And I want one before, and I want 0 frames after. Anyway, oh, I also want my onion skinning to not be multiply. Let's be normal, so we can see what's going on. There we go. So now I can see the last frame. Okay, the nice thing about working with a Cintiq is that you can just draw. Okay, so now I'm going to have this hang a little bit, but I want it to go a little bit further and get thicker in the middle here and kind of taper off. And I'm going to leave a couple little dots. Okay, and then new frame button. Okay, so let's have those little dots kind of move a little bit. The next one's going to go up like this, getting that overlap. Okay, and if I want to, I can come in here and let me zoom out and kind of loop this to kind of play it and see how it looks. I'll turn onion skinning off. And I'm just going to slow that down. So I'm going to grab all 3 of these. Let's just make them a few frames long. Okay, so there's a little bit of a hitch there. I think 2 frames is probably good. So it kind of bends there, which is kind of obvious. So I'm going to grab that. And I'm going to smooth this bend out. Maybe give myself a little bit of a... Oops. Like that. I'm going to come back. And let's give ourselves the beginning of that here. And we're going to go 1 frame after as well. So I'm just going to have this kind of like start to break off. And then that'll go into that. Okay. Grab this guy. Do our next one. Okay, and this is I'm gonna have it kind of peel off. And then we'll go around. And I'll thicken up the inside here. And we'll give ourselves our little trailers. And I'm gonna actually have these guys kind of swirl out as well. Go. Okay, next frame, extend it, and we're going to come all the way around here, so let's go like this, kind of thicken up the inside, taper off the end. Okay, We'll have this kind of finish looping. Let's see. Let's have him try a little bit longer. This guy start to peel off. This guy is gonna loop around. Okay. I'm going to take all these down to one frame just for the ease of it right now. You can see how easy it is to kind of do some of this stuff. Let's just take onion skinning off and play that through. Cool. Okay. Okay, and I think here I'm going to start another little bit that's going to peel off. Okay. I said 10, we're not going to make it to 10, it'll be longer than that, but that's okay. Another frame, and onion skinning back on. Let's have this guy peel, and we'll have him kind of die out. And he's going to get a little bit shorter so that he can be gone the next time. I'm going to go much further, so go boom, like that. A little bit further along here, kind of whip through the straight section. Okay, so let's look at that. Just trying to watch all the little pieces. That's okay. Okay, so let's just kind of smooth some of this out. These newer Cintiqs, I had a Cintiq for a little over 10 years, and I loved it. But I love the feel of these newer Cintiqs. They feel less glassy. There's kind of like a glassy smoothness to some of the older ones. The newer ones are awesome. Let's just start curving. Now as it curves, the weight of it is going to throw it to the outside. And we'll have this. Which direction is that going? So we'll just have an end and a little dot. And what direction does that get going? So I'll have him kind of. Now I'm having to peel a different way. Like that. And then that guy. Have him end in a little dot. And we'll have him end in a little dot as well. Oop, that's too big. Dot. There we go. Okay, so those go through. Come in like that. Okay, we'll add another one. Turn onion skinning back on. Let's go. The full weight of that is going to wrap around like this. Okay, and I'm going to have the beginnings of a little deal on the inside there. And let's see where we were. All those can die out. Let's see what's with that one. Oh, it doesn't die yet. Okay, so we need to this one kind of terminate in a little deal. Okay. Good. Okay, next one. And we'll have this kind of get bigger. And maybe even have a second. And then this will whip around. Turn onion skinning off again. Smooth out the lines the way we want them. And then my little guy here. Don't mind if it breaks at the end a little bit sometimes. Cool. Okay, then do another one. Oh, what did I hit? Deletes to the bad. Okay. And this one, I'm going to have this tail kind of whip as it kind of passes by itself really fast. Whoa, what happened there? That's too hard. Okay, so then this, I want it to get blown. Let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, I guessed almost right. So we're going to go a little over 10. I bet we'll hit 15 maybe. No, maybe not. Okay, I'll have that just fly off like that. This guy is going to decay. And we'll have an end in a dot. This one will start to curl. And we'll go one more. Kind of finish off this curl. One more, and this curl will taper off like that. That'll be done. Might give it a little bit, and then one more. And this can die out. Boop. That's gone, and one more. To a little dot. Okay, so. Let's play this and we'll see if we want it to take a second or half a second, because right now it's 15 frames, but it might be going pretty fast. So I'm going to turn onion skinning off. I'm going to hit R, rotate this back to where it needs to be, Command 0, so it's the full thing. Let's play this. I'm going to hide my sketch layer. Oof, that's quick. That's a little too quick for my taste. So I'm going to highlight all of these and extend each one of them. And then we zoom out a little bit more. Put our working area to the end. Okay, and let's play that, which would basically be half speed because now they're all. There we go. I like that. It's a good speed. On the twos, as they say. Okay, so now here's the fun part. I push this button. And it comes in here and asks me, what do you want to do? I choose comp size, and it adds all of those layers. And so if I go into wind, working thing, you can see I've just got this shoo, 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 right? And each of these is just a layer, but it does all of the like start and stop and everything for you. Like it's a pretty cool plugin. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to put it inside of my comp here. So let's open up comp 1. And this has got my guy kind of floating by. And I'm going to come down here and let's add this a couple times. I'm going to stagger it somewhat. And that'll just kind of whip by. Okay, I actually think that would be cool if that went in front of our little butterfly character here. Let's start with transparency on this guy. Come on, does it go in front? There we go. Yeah. A little bit of transparency. Maybe a little Gaussian blur. Effects and presets. Gaussian blur. There we go. You can also do this in Photoshop. There we go. Nice little soft blur. Kind of whip that through. Cool. Okay, then I'm going to take this guy and delete it since I did some stuff to that. Duplicate that one. Let's slide it so it's a little bit off. And something like this. Okay, and then I'll move it. It's in a different position. Only vertically. I might even flip it. So let's go on and do scale. There we go. So let's render that out. So that's basically what I did with the skeleton hand. So you can tell that the butterfly here was animated in After Effects just by rotating things and changing the position. And that was like the bones of the skeleton hand. But the flipping pen and the paint, that was all done frame by frame in Photoshop and then ported over into After Effects. So if you like that, you can check out the rest of my stuff at CoryKerr.com. And we've got all kinds of animations there, CoryKerr.com/animations. Check that out. If you want to see where I am online, you can just click on the button at the top that says What's New, and you can see it on Instagram and whatever else. And thank you for Wacom for sponsoring this video. And go check out their stuff, because just being able to draw on the screen is amazing. For me, I love my iPad Pro, but with the iPad Pros, even the big ones are only 13 inches. And that's great for portability, but being able to draw not just with your fingers, but with your arm and your shoulder and your elbow, you gotta have 22, 24, 32 inch. And so highly recommended. Anyway, you guys rock. We'll check you out later. Hit the bell and the subscribing and the thumbs up, and leave me a comment if you want to see more of this type of stuff, or if this was super boring and you watched it anyway for some reason. Tell me why you did that.
This is Illo.